All right. We are here with Kaya Spirit's Justice. This is a pretty complicated one. I mean, it's simple when you do it, but it's like complicated deck-wise. Its static is whenever one or more creatures you control and or creatures in your graveyard are put into exile, you choose one, you don't choose all of them, and then a token of yours becomes a copy of that creature. So, what does that mean? You have any kind of token. It notably does not have to be a spirit token or any kind of creature token. You can literally make a treasure token or my more appealing one, Vampire's Kiss, a blood token, right? And then take that token and turn it into Gristlebrand. Yay! So, how would that look like? Or what would that look like? Excuse me. You would play this, and then you would play Scheming Cemetery, not Cemetery, and then put Gristlebrand on top. You need a token, any kind of token, and then you plus this, you exile it from the top, and then boom, you swung with the Gristlebrand. Yay! So there's not a lot of cards that in that specific scenario are super useful. I learned the hard way, Massacre Worm does not work. I crafted Sundering Titan for this deck thinking when it no longer becomes a Sundering Titan, your token, at the end of your turn, you get the trigger, but you don't. You actually have to deal with your own token to get this trigger. There are really not many cards that are very ideal with this commander. You have Sun Titan, and I mean, even Grave Titan, it makes more tokens, Grave Titan specifically, and Sun Titan can like reanimate anything. It can like Liliana if it died, Liliana the Veil if it was in here, stuff like that. But I don't know. There's so much going on. It's kind of hard to like do this in my opinion. Like look, we have 11 creatures in here. I'm trying to be like a black white, stabilize until I get to this point style deck instead of like 40,000 creatures and doing stuff. I think there probably is a way to make this a 40 plus creature card deck. That way you can at least almost guarantee you hit something every time. However, you still need a token to do this in the first place. And you need to get something that's worth getting. It can't just be an enter the battlefield effect creature. It won't trigger. It can't be something that when it dies, you get something, because it won't trigger unless it dies in the combat that it's swinging, but it has flying, so it's actually less likely to die, right? This is just so weird. I don't even think, I think I've tried this before, if you flip Shieldred and it's not like the base Shieldred, let's say I somehow got this going, like reanimated this Kaya, I don't think I can get a backside to it. I think it's just like blank or something. I don't even know what happens if you flip this. So I don't know. There's just so few cards, right? Like Elish Norn is good. That's just good. Smacking your opponent in the face, stealing 6 is pretty decent, right? Even if you don't get the tokens. The two big ones are just Elish Norn and Gristlebrand. Gristlebrand is the biggest one by a landslide. There are plenty of ways to make tokens. Lingering Souls, I like any Lingering Souls deck, so this is pretty cool to play, right? Norn's Disassembly was another card I had in here, and I crafted for this deck. Notably, what is it? Rest in Peace does not work with this because Rest in Peace reads, if it would go to the graveyard, it gets exiled instead. So it skips going to the graveyard, so Kaya won't see it. At least I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So I'm not going to try to test it. I'm pretty confident that Rest in Peace does not work if one of your creatures gets milled or dies, and this would like to trigger. Another interesting thing is stuff like Cling to Dust. Exiling stuff out of your graveyard at instant speed is pretty cool. You swing, and then you instant speed turn something into a big scary thing, and then they didn't block it, and then they die. Right, it's kind of cool. You can do it, I believe, on your opponent's turn, too, to surprise turn one of your tokens into something moderately large or something. But the problem with that is you can only really do this once per creature, and then you can never do it again. And that's kind of bad because the card is in exile, and there's no way to get it out of exile, right? Like, you do this Elish Norn thing a single time, and then you're screwed. So, there's just, it's like a lot of setup for something that's kind of hard to pull off. And when you pull it off, it isn't as strong as something else that could have just been slightly better. So I don't expect this to be very good. Maybe it's better as like a normal EDH thing. You know, maybe we just don't have the cards to make this good, but I don't want to be too pessimistic in the opener because we actually haven't tried it yet. Maybe it's stupid. Maybe it's stupid busted. I just don't think it is. So yeah, we'll see how we do. Like, comment, subscribe. Let's roll. Okay, we have some serious color issues, or we're just getting unlucky. That's not that bad, though. This isn't terrible. I mean, I have a scry here, and I'm on the draw. Reprieve is also fine, so okay. Can't wait for the turn 1 green spell that my opponent probably mulliganed into. No, they did not. Look at that. We also drew a nice land there. Okay. I mean, it's another land. It's a tap land, which is awkward for my curve. I think I'm actually going to pass on that. I'm not really convinced that I want to leave up Reprieve this turn cycle. I'm just not going to. Okay, so do I want to play this, or do I want to let my opponent play their commander? I think that's probably wrong. I think I should Reprieve their commander if I can. And it's probably pretty likely they finally put in untapped. They just straight up did not play their commander. That's very unusual to me. I don't know. I mean, I'm a black-white deck, so I don't know what they're respecting, but no, they told me not. Told me they're not interested. So I guess I'm not interested in making a move either then. It could also be a removal spell that I'd rather not run into for no reason. Felt like they wanted to gain a tempo on me. The first sliver is in my opponent's deck. I guess that makes sense. Teamer Ascendancy is a little unusual. Reprieving any of this seems abysmal, but I guess I'll reprieve the Ascendancy. Just so I can, like, do something. Okay, so my commander is a little weird right now. I can play it and then exile the first sliver. Okay, so I'm going to do full control. I think this works the way I want it to. I go here and here. And then I sack this. Pretty sure this still resolves because it has a legal target. Yep. Wasn't the most exciting thing to do, though. Wasn't the most exciting thing to do. Okay, look at that. My opponent did leave up a removal spell. They have a second one. Or something that deals with my thing. Nope. Let's see here. So I can play this and surveil spam into an answer or into something, but that doesn't really get me anywhere unless it has haste or the ability to, like, become a creature. I don't actually have a token in play. Just doesn't feel like I'm getting anywhere doing that. So I'll just play this instead. Alright, so I think this makes my mana, thing a mana dork. This is a lot of treasure, but at this point my opponent doesn't really care about it, and honestly neither do I. But this does tap for mana now, that's pretty neat. It is unusual my opponent's not going for their commander. I find that strange. Okay. Of course. Okay. So I can surveil spam, but again, it's not really getting me anywhere. I guess I'll kill the one that draws more consistently. I'm wondering what my relative skill was in an arena, or is. I don't know what you mean. I still play it. Let's do this. Let's play this and make more tokens, I guess. I used to climb very high in ranked, and now I don't really find that worthwhile. I find it kind of pointless. Like, it doesn't seem... Wow, my opponent's just milling? They went to 3? My opponent is crazy with this, Orthanc. But I used to get high mythic, when the game first came out, like 4 or 5 years ago. I played a lot of ranked. I was on a team, too, for a second. But, they didn't last very long. But I don't play ranked anymore. Okay, well, I mean, now they can't... They don't really want to ever let me... Like, I'll have to always draw off of this unless they want me to, like, kill them. So that's interesting. What are they... Oh, they have a food activation? I think that's the only thing here. Well, they don't want to tap the goose just to make a food they can't crack, so... I guess they have other choices? This is one of the weirdest games I've played. You have no idea where to start? Oh boy. Well, if you don't know how to play, there's a lot of really good YouTube videos that are super helpful, excuse me, in my opinion, which is nice. But if you're like looking to go like pro or something, you got to find the format you like being professional at Brawl, which is what I play a lot and I stream a lot. Like this format, you're not really climbing any kind of rank, so it's not like a good like start if you're looking at specifically like skill, becoming a high level player or something like that. I don't know. I think it's more appealing to play Magic as a do we get this? Is it free enough to just grab this? I think I'm just going to get an untapped land, so. Yeah, going pro. I mean, yeah, if you're trying to go like professional or something, I wouldn't recommend it anyways, but if you're just trying to get better at the game, that's not too difficult, right? Understanding certain strategies is easier than others. Like start with a burn deck, you know, I'll just throw 7 spells at my opponent's face and they die. That's a good place to start. Understanding value, right? Like life gain isn't terribly useful. Gaining 1,000 life isn't great if you have no cards and your opponent can just kill you over like 20 turns. Combos, figuring out combos, reads, understanding what your opponent might have is useful. Like right now, we can kind of tell what our opponent has, which is probably nothing. And the reason they're holding priority and roping out is because they have a food they can make at some point. Yeah, I would choose a mode and stick to it. That's a good place to start. And probably one of the more traditional ones. Because if you just play alchemy, it's a little hard to... Ooh, no. It's hard to... Hold on, let me do this real quick. Okay, so I'm looking for a creature, because actually I do not have lethal right now. I think I'm one off. No, wait, I can Agatha's Soul Cauldron and this. 2 targets will kill. Alright, so never mind. I do have lethal, but I'm still going to try to find a creature to do the thing with our commander, which I haven't done yet. I want to just do it. We might not hit here, actually. It's kind of sad. We do not look like we're going to hit a relevant card here for the combo, so... Oh, come on, I have 2 more activations? Come on, give me a creature, 1 more. Please, game, please. Something, literally anything. Okay, Sundering Titan, whatever, whatever, I'll take it. So, Surveil 2. And then I exile... you. And then... you become that, and then I do this for no reason, because why not? Put that here, and then do this here. Alright, we did the thing, and we killed our opponent with it. There we go. Did it matter? It didn't, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to do the thing. Oh my goodness, we did the thing. Still very popular. People have thousands of dollars on their account, right? If you had an account for like 20 years, or however long that thing's been out, 18 years or whatever, you can have a sizable account. But it's all digital, right? I'm a paper guy, so I know my bias with that. Okay, let's do this. And then, yeah, you can... You know, there's a ton of websites like TCG Player to buy paper Magic, if you're into that, or get into it. Where I would kind of recommend starting with Pauper, commons only. You know, that way you don't make a terrible investment. You just got to find people that want to play Pauper, commons only. If everyone's on the same power level, it's not this, like, terrible thing or anything like that. Okay, I don't want to get Godless Shrine here. But I think I have to. I'd much prefer, like, one of the Seek lands, but I think we're just going to go ahead and do this. I don't really want to get rid of anything with these blood tokens quite yet. At least I don't think I do. But we are at a disadvantage here, I think. Which is no surprise, given how this works. Yeah, there's nothing I want to get rid of, I don't think. I kind of like my whole stuff. Necropotence is really good. I can't cast it. Guess we're starting with this. Sure. Let us Surveil 2. See if we can scam them. We did not. Do we want these? I don't think so. And then pass. You don't get a lot regularly. This is probably... Well, it's not even probably. Hearthstone. I play a lot of Hearthstone, which is also free to play for me. I don't spend money on it. And that has a better free-to-play economy than this game does. It can be kind of grueling to get, like, multiple decks in this game. If you're free to play. Sometimes it feels completely impossible. But it is possible. I'm free to play. And I have an entire YouTube channel, you know, archived of a bunch of different decks. So it's not impossible. It's just a little bit difficult. Alright, so what are we doing here? I don't believe there's anything to do with this, so I will start here. Oh, I kind of want this Farewell, but, like, I also kind of don't. I don't know, my opponent's at 14, so maybe I can, like, scam him with, like, this card. And then I don't have a land on top. I could have blood tokened something and kept the other card on top, which was a land. Maybe there was logic there, but I didn't do it. But at least we get to hit them for... Oh, we get to hit them for 12. If they actually say no here. Okay, they did. Excuse me, it's only 6. They only get 1 trigger. The economy for Hearthstone free-to-play is pretty decent. It's pretty decent. Okay, we lose our commander. No surprise there. Unfortunately, I don't have the mana to recast it. My opponent is at 7, so they can't let me spam off of the Scrabbling Claws. I might have to just actually crack this to draw here, because I'm not actually top... My top deck is not ideal. Just going to go ahead and do that. Could have blood tokened something as well, but this is fine. Also, maybe wanted to keep Farewell and mill this instead, stacking them different. Doesn't really matter if I don't get to 6 mana anyways, but... Whenever you cast an inner sorcery, Death Touch, Lifelink, 2/2 damage. Okay. So I can surprise them with the old... Okay, this forces them to lose their commander. Yeah, this is just the solid play here. Yeah, I've never stopped playing Hearthstone, actually. I've always played Hearthstone. I'll probably play it till it's all... till the end of time. My opponent just let me mill again. Kind of unbelievable at 7. That's pretty wild. I don't know why they did that. Like, they have a black market they can't stop, and my opponent just potentially just could have died there. Very strange. I don't know what it is about this card that makes people really want to commit Sudoku. It's very strange. I see that quite often. Okay, I'm not too upset with this here. They'd only have 1 mana left to do anything. Alright, well, we drew all their crazy stuff. We just can't really use it. I guess with that I'll get rid of this. It's not like I'll ever cast it. So I'll just get rid of it. Even if I do, I don't expect it to, like, survive. Okay, I don't really think this is a Necropotence game. So let's just cast this. It'll draw a card and make 1/1s. It will not gain life. Okay, that's fine. I don't know what I could draw here, but again, I don't think this is a Necropotence game. Okay, that's fine. This has Menace. They are forced to block. They are at 2. They basically have to block this, and I am totally fine with killing their commander. Doing that. Yep. Let's go here. The best one to get into? Hearthstone is probably the most simple one in my opinion. So probably Hearthstone. I think that's the easiest one to understand. So probably Hearthstone. Probably Hearthstone. They still make cards for it. The formats are in a decent spot. I don't hate them. I play it basically every day, every other day. Do my quests and stuff. There's Battlegrounds too, which is completely free, and that's just a whole format that seems very popular as well if you're into that kind of thing. I'm not, but I play a lot of Wild. But yeah, I mean, probably Hearthstone. Probably Hearthstone. Magic the Gathering has instant speed interaction, so you can play on your opponent's turn. That is a very difficult concept to wrap your head around if you're not used to instant speed interaction in card games. It's how the stack works is definitely the most challenging thing for people to pick up, in my opinion. Seems like people struggle with that a bit. But it's not too daunting once you get a grasp of it, really. Okay, so my opponent has basically 3 turns before the connections kills them. And with that, I can kind of do whatever I want. Let's make them sack that. And then I can play Wandering Emperor. I can sort of do whatever I want. I think I've played this a little strange, but I know I've been a little distracted talking. But even still, I think we're just ahead here. Just sort of playing a black-white, keep the board empty style game, and our opponent's sort of killing themselves, so... So I'll kill it when they try to equip the boots here. Assuming that's what they do. Sure. Okay, I'm just gonna windmill slam this. This is a must-answer threat, so I'm just gonna throw it in there. Throw it right into play. Alright, so they have to block this, or exile it, or something weird, because it does leave behind tokens. Okay, that... Does this exile? It does not exile. It also doesn't actually deal with it anyways. Okay. Exile top 5. That's not too difficult, right? What do they get? Nothing that deals with Worm Coil. So I think that's game. Oh, Letter of Acceptance. Redraw. Vraska's Contempt off the top. One time, maybe. D-Spark. Oh, they can't be D-Spark. What am I talking about? Oh, alright. Very well. Alright, so my opponent thought seized me, and then it'll wipe them out. They get a look-ski poo at my hand too, which is funny. In there, I think we could have won that. Actually, it would have been in a really solid spot if I was able to discard Gristlebrand, but I couldn't. It's kind of hard, right? We don't have red cards. There's some, like, self-discard in black, I guess, but that's not really where I want to be, I don't think. So, yeah, that's just a terrible, that's just terrible. That was really bad. Sucks. Speaking of really bad, this is a really bad matchup. Opponent has one of the best cards in their deck, unfortunately. I guess racing to this is fine. It's not like it's getting me anywhere very quickly, but you know what? No. Yeah, this is not as exciting as it looks. Maybe just playing Black Market was better there. Okay, let's do this. Let's play this. I'm gonna have to... I can't even reprieve, actually, because they have the Halfling. So I don't really know what to do now. Corvold probably just wins them the game. Can't stop it. Alright, never mind. They didn't go for Corvold. Not too upset with that one. That's it. We did it. Opponent did not want to continue. Reprieve was devastating. They also probably felt really bad because they could have just cast this. Because it's uncounterable. And they got hit by one of the 2 counters I could actually play. Like Mana Tithe and Reprieve. Okay, so we can avoid basically everything in this text box. The problem is they have a bunch of Planeswalkers, I would assume. But I like this hand enough, I guess. I don't know. Like it enough. Yep, that's fine. Let us play Black Market, right? Sure. It's a pretty good thing to play right now. Does I have any black mana? They have no black mana? Oh, I mean they have Aether. Okay. I was about to say, that's kind of crazy. Okay. It's interesting. Let us do this. I'm just going to immediately deal with their commander here. I mean, they can recast it, but, like, I think this is fine in the long run. Just do that again later. Okay, that does not do anything. I guess it doesn't die. Yeah, that's fair. Sure. Okay, that was a decent draw. Let's do this. I don't want to make it 3-2. Do that. Do this. Sure. I don't want to run into something that hoses me. I'm just going to play Edgar. If I play Gristlebrand and they, like... if I play Gristlebrand and my opponent does that. Gonna be upset. This doesn't stay as a creature. They don't have to deal with it, but they might as well anyways. They do not. Alright, opponent wisely doesn't. Okay, so let us... That was a pretty weak farewell, which is pretty nice. Doesn't happen too much. I don't know in what universe. You know what? I'm going to play this first, and then maybe I can scam my opponent. I think that's fine. Like, if they don't deal with this, I just win from Gristlebrand, because I can draw infinite. Well, 70. That doesn't do it. Alright. So I think we just win now. They probably just concede when they see it. There's just really not much you can do once I get that going. Alright, never mind. They stopped me from doing it. They did hit my land. They did stop it. Go to attacks first. Let's kill you. Poke that. And I don't really have anything else to do. I could have activated my man land, but I don't really care about Kaya living that much. It's not too relevant. But it probably would have made sense to do this. Not gonna lie, I kind of forgot I had it. It's been a while since I've actually swung with a man land. It's actually been quite a while since I've swung with one. I also could have, like, gambled, surveilled to turn the token into something scary, but, yeah. Alright, my opponent, yeah, they're falling behind. They don't seem to have anything. Okay, turn 1 Dark Ritual Necropotence is extremely stupid. Maybe my opponent just concedes. I will gamble. I will gamble on a concession. If they don't concede, we're probably still fine, because this is stupid. Mesmeric Orb is nice. Don't hate that one. They did not concede, by the way. Opponent didn't concede. Interesting. We just, like, did what you do to people in Timeless to our opponent here. Ooh, and we get to kill that. Nice. Alright, everything's coming up nice here. Everything's coming up nice. Let's draw 3. This is just going to be hard to come out of because I'm going to have, like, a very decent curve. Opponent might struggle to stop it. But, I don't know. Could still win. Could just kill myself on accident or something like that. It's not impossible. I've done dumber. That is totally fine. I don't think there's anything in my hand I particularly like. I kind of like the Mesmeric Orb, actually. I think it's pretty useful. Although it is also moderately useful for my opponent. But I wouldn't be upset if they take either of these. Namely, I can actually exile this... Oh, no, I can't write Necropotence. Never mind. Necropotence does not let the cards stay in the graveyard. Okay, well, we weren't casting this next turn anyways. Probably just play our token thingy. Draw 1. Two, 3. Mana Tithe was huge. That was a very good one. This was also decent. That was also decent. No. Hopefully they have a land, and they just got max punished. Oh, they did. Oh, well, I mean, it's a tap land, so you never know. They might have an untapped land. But, yeah, we've just kind of really bullied our opponent here, but we're not really capitalizing on it that much, right? Still feels pretty even, all things considered. Artifacts, Legendary Sagas. Alright, this does not get sacrificed by this. Wouldn't be too bad of a thing to sacrifice, but we don't have it. So we play this. We swing for 2. And then I draw 3. I mean, I'm going to keep drawing. I'm just pulling so far ahead. I'm going to keep doing it. Getting kind of low, but I think that's totally fine. Cling of Dust can gain some life here. It can also draw outside of Necropotence, and finding removal and stuff is always solid. Duress. Okay, that's uncommon. They play Shieldred. Okay, spooky. Let us do this then. I can kill it with my Ujin next turn. I guess I base... Well, you know what? I literally do not draw with Necropotence in play, so this doesn't trigger. But it's still kind of concerning sitting there. Gristlebrand is in the graveyard now as well, so I can actually... Wait a minute, we can just do it. Oh, but they played this. They played that. Okay, I can't do it. Shoot! My opponent played the card. Okay, never mind. Never mind. Okay, go to attack these, and then I'll just minus Liliana. I can't draw, because I'll die to Shieldred. But we almost had it. We had the token, we had the setup. Opponent had the one, like, primary counter to said thing, so that is really funny. Okay, so hopefully milling them is not beneficial for them. That would be not very kosher. We do not have a token now, so I can't do it, right? I can't do the reanimate thing, but yeah, this is actually a very interesting game, because I don't think I've ever had a long game. People usually just instantly scoop to this. But this is, like, we always have 7 cards for the entire game. It doesn't draw, so it gets around the Shieldred if we couldn't deal with it anyways, although it's still enough pressure that I kind of have to. We had the Elvish Mystic taken care of. The Thoughtseize wasn't too relevant, and then we could counter this with Mana Tithe. And we had Dark Ritual Necropotence. This was just such a disgusting thing. This might have even been better than a turn 1 Elvish Mystic, right? This is disgusting. We're at 11, and it just didn't matter. We're just ahead. We can keep our opponent off the board. This is why turn 1 Necropotence is probably something you should always scoop to. I don't think I've seen a long-form example of that yet, so that was nice to see. Okay. I like this hand, though. Sort of. Deathrite Shaman. Well, at least I don't care about it, which is pretty nice, right? This is an example. Maybe it never actually does anything. Maybe it never does anything. Alright, never mind. We now want to get rid of it before they get to use it. Don't want them to hit a land here. They would have hit a land. Okay. Whoop. I really like this card, though. This is a neat one. I don't see it too often. A little janky wanky, but I like it. Okay, that's a little bit less jank. Alright, so I play my commander, and then I guess I just exile their thing there. And then I don't attack. Take the trade. Unless they have a removal spell. Not too big of a deal. You can cast this later. Okay. So this is lining up to where I'm able to do it. Might be able to do it here. Okay. I need a token. Shoot. I do need a token here. That was a really good draw. I did not want to die to some jank, so that was a good draw here. Alright. I mean, this is fine. I don't hate this position. I'm not going to get hosed by the graveyard. I got a relic. I got a removal spell, Scheming Cemetery. I did it again. Scheming Symmetry. Is that your planeswalker? Another permanent. Okay, so we do this first. Nice. Alright, so our opponent doesn't get the value. We sacrifice a token. Next turn, we untap. We Scheming Symmetry Gristlebrand on top. We do the thing. Our opponent gets value, right? And that is pretty concerning value. They could, like, Casualties of War. But Gristlebrand hitting them and then drawing, say, 14 cards is really, really good. It's not instantly game-winning, but it is really good. So I think we were probably going to win this anyways if they didn't just concede right there. Nice. Gotta love these end step fetchers here. Just milking that priority for no reason. Just milking it. Look at that. Alright, so I'll probably raise the alarm here. Okay, sure. Play Black Market Connections, and then probably... I don't even know. Don't even know now. Gotta find a way to get rid of Gristlebrand, I guess. I do have a treasure spammer, so I can hardcast it this game moderately quick. Maybe I should have sacrificed this to just put more stuff in play. I think that's probably somewhat worthwhile, but I didn't. Alright, I have enough stuff in play where I'm going to, like, surveil instead of making tokens. Wow, I hit something. Okay, it's not that crazy, but it's, like, sort of useful right now. It's not that amazing, but I do like this. It's damage. It's damage. That's pretty cool. Look at that. Doing the thing. Love it. Puts them a lot lower, too, for their connection, so that foul smash, was it an additional 6 damage? Yeah, okay. The first sliver, obviously, can just randomly win the game, so... Who knows? I wouldn't be too upset at a sweeper right now. I do have a treasure token if I find a creature to just, like, suddenly fly in for 10 or whatever, or 7. If you didn't have a land, I think you probably wanted to draw off this and try to find a land. Probably. Nope, they have a land. They played it tapped, though, so is this the board wipe? Oh, the One Ring. Alright. So it's another thing that drains their life, and it doesn't really impact my board, so I'm not too upset with that. They actually lost their treasure token. Okay, I don't really need to make another 3-2. There's not much I can find off of the Surveil, but I think it's better than doing anything else, so I kind of like Liliana. It is another way to pressure my opponent. Play this. Yeah. There's no reason to attack. And I'll just send a message. Why not? Alright. So if they ever tap the One Ring, they got to really find a way to start gaining life. Oh, they're going to lose too much life and won't be able to stabilize. I can discard Gristlebrand with this Bitter Triumph, I'm now realizing. It's pretty nice. This doesn't resolve. It didn't work because my opponent had protection. I can't target them. They did not name artifacts, so I keep my Palantir and my tokens. They named creature. I guess I'll do this. I don't know. There's no reason not to. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. Send them a message. But, not too amazing for us there. Okay, they also didn't tap the One Ring. I guess they couldn't. Let's make a 1/1. I can play Gristlebrand, but I kind of anticipate it to die. And I'd rather surprise my opponent with it. I think there's more value in that. Let's just plus here and pass. I think there's more value doing what we're doing right now. I think that makes sense. They didn't name artifacts, so they were willing to tap this One Ring at some point. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have just named artifact. And we're not too upset with that, I don't think. Blue, black, white, red, green. They can cast the first sliver. Now they can cast a lot easier. Not that it mattered. Okay, they got a thing with stuff. We don't really care about that. So I can hit them for 8. And I will. And I also have Shieldred, so my opponent must have things to do right now. Otherwise, this game is completely over. Let's see. Do you have a counterspell? Well, First Sliver can't cast counterspells, so they can't play them. Okay. Let's do this. Nice! We did it! We actually did the thing. We got Gristlebrand. And what's crazy is we did it against the First Sliver. This is usually a very, very, very unwinnable matchup, but okay. So it wasn't as bad as I initially thought, but it still felt like a lot of games kind of boiled down to literally anything that wasn't this static ability. It is cool to have this static ability looming in the background, right? I felt like it was a little bit more consistent to sort of achieve it than I initially thought. Even with so few targets, I felt like it wasn't that difficult to get this going. Scheming Symmetry, not Cemetery, was really, really nice. The other one, too, I never actually boast it, but if I ever did, right, I'm not too upset with that. It does come in before my commander, which is very important. Edgar's just in here because I like the card. It's one of my favorite cards of all time. I just like the infinite value, hard to deal with style card. It's pretty funny to me. I got hit by a couple farewells, and every time it felt like I was kind of fine after, even though I have somewhat of a creature style thing going on. This would trigger my commander, but I can't really utilize that trigger unless it's like specifically Gristlebrand and I hadn't done this already for whatever weird reason. But yeah, it's not too bad to lose my graveyard. Some people seem to be concerned with my graveyard and they kind of prioritize dealing with it, but that's not really how this card reads, right? Like, it doesn't really care if they attack your graveyard because you're like sort of surprised doing it on your own turn anyways. So that was interesting. I had a turn 1 Necropotence, which won the game because it's stupid, right? Graveyard Hate of our own is solid for instant speed shenanigans, although, again, there's a lot of times where it felt like I'm trying to pre-combat the, the static ability so I can actually attack with the thing I'm scamming into play. But attacking my opponent's graveyard is a little bit of an additive to Graveyard Hate, so hitting either graveyard is kind of solid. I actually lost to a Kethis deck that was like a 30-minute game. I had so much Graveyard Hate too, so they couldn't get value, but they had 47 Planeswalkers, which I had never seen before in a Kethis deck, and then I just got like hosed by it because I have a bunch of creature removal and not much Planeswalker removal. It didn't matter if they couldn't come back. It was just like I couldn't deal with all the Planeswalkers. It's kind of ridiculous, but yeah, Kethis Super Friends definitely gets around all the Graveyard Hate. The token generators outside of Lingering Souls don't feel too good. I do like Raise the Alarm. It's not terrible in certain matchups, but like against aggro, you want board wipes. You're not really trying to get into combat like the red zone with this kind of stuff, but it's all right. I had more of this effect in here, but all of it feels really bad. Like, oh, 3 mana, get 2 1/1s. Just, it feels bad. Especially when the 1/1s get hit by your sweepers, hit by your opponent's sweepers. don't really immediately give you a token to swing. It doesn't have haste, right? Like Raise the Alarm sort of has haste during your opponent's turn, right? But unless I have a creature in my graveyard or have one ready to be set up, it doesn't really matter how many tokens I've got going. This can just sort of generate tokens itself anyways. So there's probably an argument to dropping all kinds of creature token style cards and going more into other kinds of tokens like food, and more clues, or blood tokens. Something like that might be more useful. What felt terrible? I don't really know if anything here felt terrible. I didn't like Sundering Titan. Again, this is a lot of setup without simply just casting it from hand, right? It's a lot of setup to get this going with this static ability, but if it does, it's kind of cool, I guess. You do sort of hit your own lands, right? I might lose 2 lands in exchange. If I'm playing against a mono red deck, this is completely useless. I just blew up like 1 mountain. A lot of decks are like 3 or more, though, or 2 or more, so it's not that bad, right? Hosing your opponent's lands when you're not capitalizing on that tempo from them losing access to mana isn't that ideal either, especially when there are so many mana dorks and so many mana rocks. I just don't know if you need this. It just doesn't feel like hitting your opponent's lands on turn 5 is really doing anything. There's another aspect to this deck that is, I don't have any ramp, right? I think this happened in one of my other more recent MKM videos from this set, Murders at whatever. It feels like I need every slot to sort of play into my commander, which means it's just a little honest. I'm just playing 1s and 2s and 3s that are not ramping into 4s and 5s and 6s, right? Which is kind of refreshing, right? It does not feel like this deck demands it. Honestly, you could probably reevaluate some of my older commanders and see how many mana rocks you could not run and just run something actually impactful instead of trying to skip into more expensive spells. I think there's something to be said about that. But it's cool that we're not focused on that. Even though it feels a little forced, because again, I have to jam so many relevant cards for the setup and the consistency and whatnot of actually pulling anything off with my commanders. So there's like no room for mana rocks. But hey, I like it. I kind of like that notion. It's a little bit refreshing. I mean, I still have like Smothering Tithe, but it ramps me and it makes tokens, right? And the tokens can become Gristlebrand if I have that thing happening. Get Lost is this not really anything to do with my commander, but this card has felt extremely powerful. Probably one of the most probably the most powerful 2-mana removal spell in the game, because the map tokens are really, really bad. If your opponent has no creatures, they're useless. They're at sorcery speed only. It gives them weird tokens that you might be able to exploit in some niche deck or something. I don't think this haven't really come up, but Get Lost has felt obscenely powerful. Mind you, I don't think I cast it this play session at all, but I think that's something to consider. If you don't own this card, absolutely run it. This is just like white premium removal, like Swords to Plowshares. The maps are really not any kind of downside, like, at all. And it just hoses whatever your opponent might be doing. It's Dark Ritual, so right, it's just the strongest card in the deck. It's not really a surprise there. The sweepers didn't feel like they got in the way of the strategy, which is very important. Again, your token does not have to be a creature. You can hose the board, then surveil, exile something, swing with a treasure, and feel kind of fine. But yeah, I think of all the cards in here, the one that is notably not great is probably Sundering Titan. Not necessary. I kind of regret crafting it. I mean, I'm a little light on mythics. I probably didn't have to craft this, but I thought I might as well, right? It's going to be useful in other decks I play for sure, but it's just, it doesn't feel like I need this, right? Like, and if you don't own it, don't try to fish for this mythic. You just don't need it here. It could be anything else, right? And maybe there's another creature that's not on my radar, right? That I hadn't considered. I felt like I looked at most of the creatures, but relevant creatures to this, but this was just not really one of them. But yeah, that's it. It was better than I thought. And it's pretty fun to play. It gives me that black-white control, uh, feeling, and that's one of my favorite feelings. So that's always nice, right? It always has that avenue of victory, right? Liliana ultimate every now and again, so you never hurt anybody except your opponent. But yeah, let me know what you think about this. If you have ideas for it, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.